Hi, my name is Bohten, and today we'll speak about Circe, the 15th episode of James Joyce's Ulysses. So we will go for psychoanalytical reading of the novel and investigate it deeply. So the episode 15 takes the form of a play script, and it is mostly based upon Homeric's epic than the other episodes. The majority of the action of episode 15 occurs on as drunken, subconscious, anxiety-ridden hallucinations. Who is Circe? Circe is a goddess of magic and sometimes a nymph, witch, enchantress, or of sorceress in Greek mythology. We have the characters. As we know, Stephen Dedalus is an aspiring poet in his early 20s. He's intelligent and extremely well-read, and he likes music. He seems to exist more for himself in a cerebral way than as a member of a community or even the group of medical students than he associates himself with. He was extremely religious as a child, but now he struggles with issues of faith and doubt in the wake of his mother's death, which occurred less than a year ago. He's a protagonist, represents the artist, Joyce's alter ego, and Joyce's fictional projection of himself. Leopold Bloom, on the contrary, is 38-year-old advertising canvasser in Dublin. He enjoys reading and thinking about science and inventions and explaining his knowledge to others. He is compassionate and curious and loves music. He is preoccupied by his estrangement from his wife, Molly. Bloom is shut off from his Roman Catholic, often anti-Semitic associates, first of all because of religious differences. And Bloom's alienation is from home and from community. He's kind of keyless hero. He does a lot of things to antagonize those around him. And we see a lot of sexual perversities that are fully explored in Circe that we study today. To do psychoanalytical reading, we should know the major people who investigated this topic before. And one of the founding fathers is Carl Gustav Jung, and he actually is the founder of modern analytical psychology. He said that Ulysses is a book which pursed along for 735 pages, a stream of time of 735 days which all consist in one single senseless everyday of every man, the completely irrelevant 16th day of June 1904 in Dublin, a day on which, in all truth, nothing happens. The stream begins in the void and ends in the void. Also, we know Freud, who introduced us the concepts of Oedipe, sexual envy, ID, ego, and superego, and the nature of the art and creative energy. So he explained the notion of sublimation and so on. So, the Circe is about fantasies and oppressions. We know that to navigate Circe by the map of transvestism is to see Joyce's modernity as venturing into unknown and dark territory. This fantasy of Circe is the most startling and fashionable chapter of the book, for it displays the most anxiety-producing aspects of Joyce's psychosexual nature. Circe makes abundant sense as a public demonstration of Joyce's private reality. The author offers a series of changes of clothes which translate the experience of transvestism as one of Joyce's obsessions. The dramatic form of Circe is appropriate for a depiction of masochism. Although the masochist submits, he gives a torturous script detailing. Almost all Circean female characters as Molly, Mr. Bean, Mrs. Mervyn, Talboys, Mrs. Cole, and Mrs. Dignam appear dressed as men. And Bloom's transvestism takes on a particularly explosive form for diverting, displacing, and virtually obliterating a repertoire of male stereotypical roles. Joyce distorts and disguises Bloom's masculinity by staking the solution of his power. Circe not only gathers onto itself the energies of previous chapters, but also gives expression to a surrealistic sadomasochistic fantasy and reflects the symbolic geography of the 14th world of hallucinations. Joyce's obsessive drive to recostume his characters also leaves them, firmly and incessantly, open to reinvention and renegotiation. We see Bethany actually awakening as a symbol of rebirth, and we see Odysseus' early adventure with the Cyclops as a disguised rite of sexual initiation that entails a symbolic death and rebirth. There are a lot of intertextual references as well. We know that intertextuality is actually interconnection between similar or related works of literature that reflects an audience's interpretation of the text. That is, allusion, quotation, plagiarism, translation, pastiche, and parody. Here we see Homeric parallels, and for example, we see that Odysseus demands that Circe release his man, and we see something same in Ulysses. James Joyce actually parodies Homer's Odyssey from some reasons respectively. First of all, Ulysses events, the structure resembles those of Homer's, and also the titles and subplots keep pace with other Joyce's. So, though different to some extent, Homer delves into mythologies in time. Joyce addressed the tabbooness under the umbrella of intertextuality that he adheres to glorify both the text and the poet. He plays a lot with the language, and he's absolutely obsessed with that. We see that the syntax is rearranged, the letters are put in unheard of combinations, ambiguity is the core principle, reference in Joyce's text are turned into their signs. There is always some meiotic mediation, and contingent though not necessarily arbitrary process. This is very interesting, and Circe is that telling of us of the inner world that the modernist took so many time to develop and to see that so many things can happen in the hand during one day here the 16th of July. So thank you for your attention, subscribe, and see you in the next video.